Hey everyone, welcome back to NDC and welcome back to our Learn to Code series with Swift Playgrounds in Learn to Code number 2. And apparently I'm so excited about parameters today. I skipped the kind of opening part of opening Learn to Code 2. If you want to follow along, definitely open up Learn to Code number 2, parameters. It's all about creating options. Let's go ahead and dive on in. I love parameters in Swift coding, by the way, might I say. Let's say we're painting a house, the inside of it, and using code we might create 4 different functions for the different colors of paint that we want to use. So we have green, pink, orange, and blue. You might need to call the function multiple times depending how many layers of paint are needed. So this time we've painted over it 3 times. Instead of using and defining different functions for each colors, we can instead use a parameter to specify the color of paint that we want. So instead, this time we've declared a function to paint the room, and then we're saying, okay, we're going to be passing through a color. So parameter is an input value to the function. And then we have a specific type, such as the color. So we're saying, okay, we're going to be giving you a color, and then finally what that color is. So this is how it would look. Paint room color, and then we're providing the color green. Whenever we call upon that function, we say, hey, I want to paint the room, and it says, okay, you need to provide me with a color. And so we say, okay, I want to use the color green. This is apparently how phones work. Hang it up. So now when we have the function paint room color, we can also include multiple parameters. So this time we're calling upon the function saying, okay, I want to paint the room blue, this light cyan blue, and I want 3 layers of it. This is pretty cool. We can have multiple parameters within our functions. Let's take a look at another example. Function move, and we have a count. And then we're passing through a type int. Int represents whole numbers. I think we learned that a little bit before when we talked about ints and strings. So here, for our loop, we're going from I ... to the count. So it's going to take that number that we pass through when we call a function. So if we wrote this and said, hey, move 5 times, it'll say for I in ... 5 and move forward 5 times. So here for the example of 3, we can specify how many times. Let's go ahead and start coding with the first puzzle, moving further forward. And we don't have a friend. Oh, looks like we're going to be using, I was calling him Red McDonald's expert again. Okay, first things first, we definitely need to initialize our friend. So if you haven't seen the previous videos in this series, or especially not the initializer one, pause this video, go ahead and check out initialization so you can understand the use of our expert friend. Otherwise, in this puzzle, a new function lets us move multiple tiles using a single command, reducing the repetition in our code. We're going to be putting in a distance for our function. So we're going to have the move function, as we can see here in this example, and we can provide it with a distance. So we have 6, which is going to be the argument. We can move 6 times. Whoa, instead of looping through move forward, we can just like move 6. I'm a little excited. It's going to save a lot of brain power. Okay, so we have our function move distance, and our distance is an integer. So let's go ahead and based on that example that we saw in the slideshow with the car, let's go ahead and create a for loop, pass through that distance integer, and have the expert move forward that many amount of times. So for I in 1 ... and then we're going to reference the distance, right? That's this value within the function. Okay. So we're going to repeat it that set amount of times. And again, this is something that's flexible. So maybe one time we'll do it 8, one time we'll do it 3, 4, right? We can call upon this and change that value every time we call upon the function. But for now, let's just have our expert.move forward. So it's going to repeat that the set amount of times. Amazing. Okay, let's go ahead and run our code and see where we, kind of spawn, where our expert's going to be going. Oh my goodness, we're all the way over here. Okay, so we definitely want to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then turn. So let's test out our new move and make sure you use the autofill here, because when we put it in, it's already going to be saying, hey, whenever you call upon this move thing, you need to provide it with a distance and a number. So let's do the number 6 and let's run our code real quick. Verify that it works the way we think it's going to. All right, expert, come on, buddy. You're taking your sweet time. You only moved a couple spots. What's going on? What the heck, expert? You should have moved 6 times. Am I crazy? Did I not put the number 6? Okay, he must have just bugged out. Happens to Swift Playgrounds. I thought I was going crazy. Okay, there we go. We've actually moved 6 times. Perfect. Okay, so let's now have the expert move right. Oh, sorry, turn right. In a minute. Turn right. And then we'll want to move 2 times. And instead of doing the move forward twice, let's just call upon our move. So we'll move twice. That should put us down these stairs. We'll probably have to turn right again. So expert, and again, we're referencing the expert specifically to turn right. Even though we only have the expert on the screen, we still want them to be the one that's turning. We have to be very specific in coding with what we're referencing. Okay, after we turn, we'll need to move 5 times. Alrighty, I had to restart my playgrounds real quick, but we still have that move 5. Let's go ahead and run it, and it should put us in front of these stairs down here. But it is pretty cool where you can kind of specify amount of distance, right? Instead of writing those loops, we can just call upon that loop every single time. We can specify the number, run through it that many amount of times, but we should be good to turn left when we're at the stairs. We'll then count how many to get to this, I forget what they're called, locks. Let's see. So we're going to turn left, then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Expert dot turn left. Do our move 5 more times. Afterwards, we'll want to turn. Gonna do our expert dot turn left. We want to face that lock, and then we want to raise them. Yeah. So we'll have our expert dot turn lock up. Then we'll want to turn around. Well, we'll be facing the lock, so turn left. Expert dot turn left. That will have us facing back towards these platforms. So we'll want to go 1, 2, 3. Yep. And so we'll do our move 3. We'll then want to turn right to cross the platform. And it's been a while since we've tested this. So we'll do our expert.turn right. So let's run our code and see where we're at again. And we can do it the faster speed. Oh man, Swift Playgrounds is it happens, especially in the Learn to Code 2 module. Find couple bugs here and there, but we'll get through it. Always do. All right, we've raised those, and now we're facing the 2 platforms. Okay, so we'll do our move again 3 times. Not 33, oh my goodness. And then our expert will need to turn right. From there, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 moves. Imagine if we had to like type out all these loops. Take forever. And then expert.collectGem. And we should be good to go. Go ahead and speed through this. So by, passing through the number within those parameters, we're saving so much time. We're saying, okay, move, which calls upon this function, and based on the number, repeats the move forward command that many times. It's so much easier to read too, right? Move this many tiles, turn, move this many tiles, move this many, right? It's really easy to read. We're able to use it, repeat it, call upon it in those separate instances. Go ahead and go to the next page, generalizing a function. All right, we have our expert friend. Always gotta initialize them, and same with the character. Make sure you reference them with the capitals and the empty parameters. Okay, for this one, let's go ahead and spawn our friends. Oh, okay, I have a theory. Expert's going to be right here, kind of stuck between these 2 locks. And they're going to be our little command center for moving Hopper up and down. This one looks pretty sweet, I'll be honest. Okay, so we're going to have a function to turn lock up which is going to be a Boolean value. Boolean represents true or false. So when we want to turn the lock up according to our instructions, we need to do true, and we want to turn the lock down is false. And we also have the number of times, which is an integer. So how many times we want to move it up or down. Ooh, things are getting complicated, but we'll be okay. So we're going to use both the parameters. We're going to check the value of up to determine if we should call it. And we're going to use number of times to how many times to either run the turn lock up or turn lock down. All right, now that we have our characters, let's tackle our function. Okay, so we need to be able to pass through the up and number of times. We'll definitely want to use our for loop based on the instructions. And we can say for I in 1 dot dot dot, so that range, and we'll look at the number of times. This is going to, tell us how many times to, repeat this action. And we can use the if statement to look at if it's true or false with the Boolean. Okay, so when we want to turn the lock up, it's true. So if up, we'll go ahead and have our expert, lowercase e. I'm going to just create a space there so it looks a little bit nicer. Dot turn lock up. And then we can say else to handle when it's, not up, in this case down. We can say expert dot turn lock down. Okay, there we go. I have the side panel open there, don't need that. So now when we want to call upon it, we can call the turn lock. We can say true to go up, and the number of times. So if we put 3, it would kind of crank it 3 times. Let's go ahead and delete this and think through our puzzle. The first tiles we have in front of us are purple, and it looks like they need to go up 2 times. So let's take our expert and run the code real quick so we can get our friends back. Again, Learn to Code 2 has some weird bugs. I'm pretty sure we're facing this this orange. Oh, okay, there we go. Again, weird bugs. Okay, we're going to be dealing with purple first. So we'll take our expert and we'll have them turn left twice, because essentially we do need to turn them around. Oh, you know what? Let's just create another function real quick to turn them around. We'll call it turn around expert, because they're going to be ping-ponging between these 2 colors. And we'll just have this be expert turn left twice. There we go. Okay, let's think this through. So we're starting off with yellow. So we'll call our turnaround expert, and then we're going to want to call our turn lock up. So we have a Boolean value. So, oh, sorry, it's just the function is just called turn lock, and the parameter's up. So when we want to go up, that's true. And then we're going to do a number of times. I believe we're 2 platform heights away. Let's run the code and verify this. So they should turn to the purple one. Turn it twice. We want to run this one on faster. It takes a while to get this through. Okay, so we know we need to do it at least 3 times. So once the platforms have been raised, we could probably have Hopper go back down and collect the gem. So now that we've assumed we can change it 3 times, we'll then want to have our character move forward. Then we'll have our character turn right, move forward again. And that should put us on this platform. And while our expert is still facing these purples, we'll want to lower them. So we'll do our turn lock, and we'll set this to be false. If we remember, false will make it go down. Then for the number of times, we want to bring it back down 3. That should then allow our character to turn and collect the gem. So we're going to have our character turn right. Again, character specifically. Turn right. Move forward. And collect the gem. Okay, let's test this out. Again, we'll probably do these ones on faster because it does take a long time to that move the lock up and down and all that. Okay, so our commander on the little island is going to bring those up to our character. We're gonna move forward, position ourselves, and then we're gonna bring it back down 3 times. Then we're gonna move off, collect the gem, and we're good to go. Okay, next is we want to move towards that yellow platform, have it go up, collect the gem, and then go back to the yellow platform and collect the 3rd gem. Not too shabby. So these platforms, sorry for my poor camera work, these platforms are currently parallel. So we should use this opportunity to have our character go to that yellow platform while they're parallel. So the character dot turn left, let's do that twice to simulate turning them around. We'll then want to have them move forward 2 times. That should put us on the yellow platform. We'll then want to turn around our expert, so then they're facing the yellow lock. And then we can move the lock up once. So we want to have it be true to move it up. Number of times, just 1. And then we'll have our character move forward and collect the gem. Let's verify that that works. Collect gem. And if that works, we'll have to move back to the platform, raise it 2 more times. That sounds right. And collect the 3rd gem. All right, in position, move us on down. I wonder if there's a cap to the ceiling of how high you can move these things. I have a theory to test out later for fun. Okay, we're now managing the yellow. We've moved it up once, collected the gem. Perfect. So from here, we'll do our pseudo turnaround. It's funny, I was like, oh, we'll be turning around the commander a bunch, the expert there, and we end up turning around this guy more. Either way, we'll turn around twice to get back on the platform. We'll then move forward back onto the platform. We'll turn right. Oh, hold on, let me think. Yeah, we'll turn right. And we'll then move forward to be on this 2nd platform we haven't touched yet. We'll then have our commander move us up 2 times. So our turn lock up, true to move it up again. Number of times, 2. And then our character will need to turn right to face the gem. I'm gonna think this out. Move forward, and then the character collect gem. Oof. Okay, thought through the steps. They sound great. Run it, collect that last gem, and complete this puzzle. It's pretty fun to manage multiple characters, manage the states of these different switches and platforms, whatever you want to call them, with the locks. I do enjoy these puzzles. Alright, moving up, collecting, turning around, moving up 2 more times, turn, collect gem, and done. Woohoo! And that is our solution. We used our function, we initialized. There is a lot of code here. I'm just going to leave my screen up on the functions if you want to pause and take a look, and around our solution. Because before we move on to the next puzzle, I'm going to do a little experiment. Okay, so now that we've established everything works, what I'm going to do is, once we get our character on the platform, I'm going to change this to be true. I'm going to set this to like 20. We can code and solve, but it's also fun to break code sometimes. So I'm curious if Hopper's just going to like fly to the top of the universe here. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Hopper's ascending. There you go, Hopper. Just have fun. Important to learn, but it's also important to have fun. Oh my goodness. Is Hopper gonna leave the screen? Oh, there we go. We can see Hopper's shoes. Okay, I'm gonna try a different camera angle. No. Yeah, Hopper's just up there hanging out. Okay. Now we know. Anyways, let's move on to the next puzzle here, which is crank up and down. Okay, so let's first initialize our expert and our character. Let's see where they start off, and then we can build out our solution from there and run our code. Still laughing to myself about Hopper just ascending. Okay, so we definitely have expert in the command center here again, this time with 4 different colors that they have available to them, because we have, you gotta do a little bit of extra camera work here. We do have 4, I know it's hard to see the orange one, we do have 4 different locks that we will need to be augmenting. Okay, so Hopper's job once again is to go around, collect the gems. The expert's job is to provide that support. All right, we're gonna create some functions first for our character to turn around, as well as to collect the gem and turn around. We do have like some patterns happening here, so let's work smarter, not harder. And if you ever want to, with your functions, be specific with the naming, right? Maybe we're gonna have a function later on to turn character around. You know, you can just call it character, you know, use short form char for character, turn around, right? Be specific so you can reference them later, especially when you're working with multiple friends here. So we're going to reference our character.turn left, and let's go ahead and do that twice. Perfect. Now we're also going to create a function, and this one's going to be for our collect gem turn around function. Wonderful. So we're going to have our character lowercase c, the autofill, it gets me sometimes. And we're going to have it move forward twice. We can kind of take a look at where we're at now, and we can base it off of that. So we're going to want to do our move forward twice, as I said before. From there, we're going to want to collect the gem. Again, every time we're going to start with that prefix of collect gem. Then we'll call upon our character turnaround, followed by 2 more character move forwards. Man, this puzzle's gonna be a long time. That's okay. That's why we're working through these puzzles and, you know, putting our skills to the test. That's why they're puzzles, right? And then we'll have them turn right at the end. If we need to change this to be turn left, or maybe we can even take the turn out later if we need, we will figure it out. Okay. These locks are all in a really bad spot, and I think they all need to be turned up the same amount, unless I'm crazy. We can go ahead and experiment, but I'm pretty sure the expert needs to turn all these up like 3 or 4. So let's go ahead and do a for loop real quick. I think we could actually like really simplify the expert turning all 4 of these up, and if we need to like change it later, of course we always can. So let's have this repeat 4 times, because we do have 4 different switches. And let's have our expert do the dot turn lock, and we can access that one that we used in the previous playground. And for the up, we're going to want that to be true, because, you know, we're moving it up. And for the number of times, let's try 4. Again, beauty of it, we can always change it later. Once they're done turning it up, let's have the expert turn. Turn right. So my theory is every time we start this playground, the expert's just gonna crank everything up. I don't know. Let's go ahead and see if it works. Definitely for this one, we're gonna be running it as fast as we can. 100%. Okay, there's the expert. Wonder if I got it right with 4. That'd be fun. Okay, they moved green all the way up. The only thing that kind of stinks, I don't know, sucks about this one is this takes a while, even on run fastest every single time. But if it works, then maybe we can just math that slash, you know, plan out the rest of our path. Oh yeah, there we go. So we will need to eventually lower the blue one, but you know, we can cross that bridge when we get there. So let's add another for loop. We can even do the autofill. And let's go ahead and repeat this 3 times. And what we want to have happen is while our character is not on the gem, we want to move forward, right? I basically want to use this to move forward 3 times. While character is on gem, and we're using that exclamation point, if we remember from before, to do the inverse. So while we're not on the gem, we're going to have our character move forward. Then when we are on the gem, we can have our character dot collect gem. And then our character is going to then turn right. We double check, move forward, collect gem, turn right. Perfect. After that, our character will need to move forward. I'm also going to try to mentally plan this one out a lot because I don't want to have to sit there and have them adjust the thing so many times. Okay, let's go ahead and hop out of this loop. So we're going to be facing this way now. And we'll want to have our character move forward. Again, I'm going to plan this one out mentally a lot because having this guy turn the switches, locks every single time, even on fast, it takes forever. I'm going to mentally plan out a lot of it, as you know, we've done before. Okay, you know what? Let's copy and paste this method here where we have our for loop, raising it, and let's set it to be false, and let's lower everything down 4 times. Then all the platforms we're going to bring down, we're going to complete our loop. Run this on fastest again to verify, but let's bring it back down to the floor level. Again, it kind of isn't the best that we have to sit here and watch through this. I guess maybe through the power of editing, I could always just speed it up, or yeah, probably speed it up. Okay, there we are. Although we are low 1 too many, so let's change this to be 3 instead. So we'll basically now figure out how to clear out this bottom section. So we'll definitely want our character to turn. So we'll do our character dot turn left, right? If we're thinking about this, shift that way. We'll then want to move forward and then collect the gem. Okay, turn around after that for sure. So we'll do our character turnaround. And now we need to think about how we're going to solve these remaining puzzles. I think we can do a for loop. So 4 and 3, we'll have 3 gems remaining. We'll need to do the move forward. Character dot move forward. Do that twice. See, that's why I liked having that move command, because then we could just like pass through the numbers. So easy, right? And then we can create an if character is not on gem, so we'll use the inverse. Character dot is on gem. Add our brace. We'll have our character dot turn right. And then we'll call upon our what do we call it? Collect gem and turn around. So collect gem, turn around. And we can have an else. We have our character dot collect gem. So when we are on the gem, we can collect it. All right, this is our algorithm. Surely we'll be able to solve the top, move them all the way back down. Well, I guess not all the way back down, but to a appropriate level at 3. And collect the bottom gems. Wow, a lot of these require so much code. So much code, but I think we're getting through it. Might be a long video, but you know, we can hop to the solutions and work through these together. I'm also thinking about speeding up this footage, so I'm going to speed up the footage after I stop talking, and I'm going to drink my drink and see if I can make it look normal. Okay, we are collecting the gem. Here's our bottom path. Using our algorithm, gotta do some crazy camera work. And we're good to go. All right, now that we've learned how to create functions with parameters, find how to use the parameters to place characters in specific locations in the puzzle world. Wait, can we teleport with this one? Because if we can teleport, who's moving ever again? Okay, placing at specific locations. We have our expert, and we have the world.place item at column and row. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. So for this, the starting point for a character has been chosen. Normally we have a specific starting point. Okay, so we're gonna start at a specific spot. And then we can use the coordinates kind of here with the rows and columns. And we're able to... Actually, we do have teleporters. So we're able to specify where we want to be. Okay, so we have our world place. We have the item, at, column, row, int, as we saw earlier. Interesting. So for the item, let's try putting down our expert. And let's put him at 1, 1, just to kind of see what this looks like. Go ahead and run the code, and let's see where 1, 1 is so we can get a sense of, where that is in the world. Okay, apparently this is 1, 1, which I would figure that would have been a corner, but it is what it is. Okay. Well, before we forget, I'm just gonna have the expert collect the gem. I mean, that's pretty sweet. Now, the thing I want to try is, can we teleport? There are the teleporters that we can walk to, but can I just place like my character down again? So expert at column. Okay. Let's assume this is column, and then row would be like right to left, like horizontal. Right? You know what? Let's just experiment. Let's see where 1, 3 puts us real quick. And I want to see if it even teleports. Again, I would have thought 1, 1 would be like a corner, but maybe that's 0. Okay, so we collect it. Oh, we do teleport. Okay, okay. So we now know that the rows go this way. I'll change my camera so it's consistent. The rows, as we're looking at it now, are left to right, and columns are up and down. Okay, so this actually must be 0. So that means, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm happy we can teleport. We are no longer, getting our steps in. Okay, let's go ahead and collect the gem. This feels like a hack that you can just teleport multiple times. I don't know. Okay, and then we'll do our world.place. I'm not complaining. We'll have our expert. How to solve any puzzle easily. Where do we want to go from here? This would be 1. That's where we were, and that should be 6. Then collect the gem. Expert.collect gem. Well, I feel like you can, make this puzzle as you wish, but you would probably start over here, augment the locks. But why would you do any of that when you can just teleport? Okay. There we go. Easy. Honestly, I might just, I might just teleport my way through this one. Alright, rivers to cross. We can now place expert in the specific location as we saw earlier, but we can also face expert in a specific direction. Oh, maybe we can teleport and collect the gems within a line? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Wait, okay, I have some good ideas brewing. Okay, so what does west mean? So we have like north, east, south, and west when we think of a compass, but nothing else. So no cheeky northeast to go on a diagonal. Choices like this work because each choice is in the same type, which is an enumeration, or enum for shorts, or enum for short, that defines a group of related values. We can write each choice like direction north, south, for example, but we always can leave out direction to make it simpler. However, because it's in an enum, we only have those 4 choices. Cool. So we want to place our character in the world. We also need to establish them. So let's go ahead and establish them with let expert equals expert with our empty brackets here. And then we'll want to place them. So we reference that with the world.place, as we can see here. And we're going to choose the one with the facing. Okay, so for the first thing, we're going to put this as expert. We're placing down expert as the item. Facing direction. I know it mentioned west, but let's figure out what south is. And then let's put them at 1. Oh man, let's try 1, 1. Let's just try 1, 1 and see where that puts us. I wonder if we go into a spot we can't be, if we'll just like glitch or something. Okay, we are in the middle of the rocks and we are facing south. Okay, so let's change this to maybe row 8. And hopefully we're like way up here. Might be some experimentation. Yeah, okay. Here we are. And I'm going to leave our camera parked here so we can know which direction south is. And we know what way our rows are and our columns are. Okay, so where we're facing now is south. Let's start off from there. Let's create some functions. The first one would be collect lined gems. We have lots of lines of gems. So we have 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. We just need to also make sure that we're turning the switch, the locks, to raise or lower the platform. Okay, so what do we want to have happen here? Well, we definitely want to use a while loop so we can save some time. So while the expert is not blocked, every time we get there, we're going to be blocked. We can say if expert is on gem, collect it. Dot is on gem. We will do our expert dot collect gem. Otherwise, outside of the if, we'll have our expert just be moving forward. In the cases that we do get blocked, we're going to be bonking our heads, well not bonking, but being blocked by those locks. So we'll be sure to call upon the ability to change those. So as we start off now, let's go ahead and do our collect line gems. And then we'll have our expert, once they reach the end, our while loop will end. We can then turn the lock down. Looks like we only need to lower it 1 place. Wonderful. Then we'll want to turn left. Turn left. And we'll want to collect our gems in a line again. So collect line gems. We'll want to raise the green switch because we'll be at the green lock. So expert dot turn lock up. We can then have our expert turn right. Turn right. And then our collect lined gems, and that should be good to go. All right, let's see our expert in action using the functions. Still don't think anyone's been as easy as the one where we just teleported around. I mean, if you really want a challenge, you can actually just look at all the gems. It would actually probably take a lot longer. You could look at the position at all the gems and teleport the expert around and just collect them as you wish. Because, yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. Okay, we're going to continue our journey. This should be at the proper height. There we go. Go collect those gems. Turn the last lock up and collect the remaining gems. And we'll be good to go. This is a pretty fun one. It's also cool to learn a little bit more about the directions and get a bit of a feel for it. The only thing is with the playgrounds that I've noticed, I mean, I'm crazy with the camera, but when you look at the things like the rows and columns, it's sometimes when you are moving the camera a lot, easy to lose track of what one is what and your sense of direction as well. But, you know, if we keep our camera in a static spot, we can figure it out. And there we go. We have certainly figured out this puzzle. Alrighty, it is time for placing 2 characters. In this puzzle, we're going to choose starting locations for both of our characters. So we have our expert, and we'll also have our typical character, and we've now been given the jump ability. The jump command is going to make our character jump when needed. We can go up and down when we use the following jump command. Again, we need to be very specific because we're going to have our expert and our character. So let's go ahead and establish our expert. So let expert equal the expert, empty brackets, and we'll also get our character. It'll be that character also with those empty brackets. Okay, next we're going to want to use our world in order to place our characters. Remember, we can also have them face different directions if needed. So let's go ahead and do the place item. And we're going to choose the second autofill because we want to have them face a certain direction. Which direction? Well, that's for us to kind of find out. So let's start off with our character. And for the direction, let's just start them off on north, and then we can kind of figure it out from there. For the column and row, let's just try 0, 0, just so we know where we're starting from. Okay, let's go ahead and run our code. We'll just have our character get placed for now. Okay, so this is 0, 0, where our character of Hopper is, and the direction they're facing is north. So I think what we need to have happen if we do want to have our expert hanging out is we might need to put them over here by this. I always forget what these are called. The turn lock switches, right? Where this switch is. Oh wait, I didn't know this. Hold on. You can actually click on the tiles and it tells you. I'm sure it was mentioned in one of the texts I just failed to read. Oh my goodness. You can click and it tells you where it is. Okay, well we're going to 3-0 with the expert. Oh my goodness. It took me this long to figure it out? Ah, man. Well, that's a hot fact. Cause like, you're gonna have to figure this out every single time. And at least they don't, there's 3-0. They don't kind of make us guess every single time, right? Okay, so let's run this again and verify that our expert does spawn at 3-0. Perfect, there you go. They're ready to toggle a switch. They're also ready to adjust the lock as needed to help Hopper out. All right, let's create a function, and this is going to be for Hopper, where we're going to have Hopper collect and jump. You can see here, as we're going to be going through the playground, we're going to be using that new, jump command. We'll call it collect and jump. Add our brackets, add our brace, and let's have this repeat 2 times. So do for I in 1.2, add our brace. From here, we're going to have our character collect the gem. We can see we have a pattern, right? Collect, jump, jump, collect, jump, jump, collect, right? So we're going to be wanting to repeat that kind of motion there, that pattern. So we always need to reference our character with a lowercase c. We're going to collect the gem, and then we're going to do 2 jumps. So character.jump twice here. Okay, wonderful. We can also start off our program by having our expert toggle the switch that they're on. So expert.toggle switch, right? We're going to want to turn that on. I think we just have the one. And we also have this, kind of platform that needs to be raised. So let's also have the expert, before we forget, turn the lock up. I don't think we'll need to move the expert at all in this program. Okay, let's go ahead and do some testing. So we should be able to do our collect and jump, and then turn our character, let's see, that would be right, and then do it again. So we'll have our collect and jump, we'll have our character then turn right, and we'll do another collect and jump. And let's just run this, verify it works, and let's see how our pattern goes. But otherwise, I think we're just going to be doing some turning of the left and, collecting those last gems. So we've toggled the switch, we're also turning the lock up. Great, looks like that platform's all set. Hopper's doing some magic here. Okay, we're doing our turn, repeating our pattern, and we should end up by this gem here. Perfect. Okay, we can figure out what we need to do from here. We're definitely going to want to have our character collect the gem, first and foremost. And then Hopper will need to turn left. Turn left to move forwards and to collect gem, and I think we're good. But we also don't need to always do 2 move forwards. If we remember from a previous lesson, we can do the move and put the distance as an integer, which would be 2, and then we can collect the gem. Since we're not moving a whole lot of distance, I'm sure you could just do 2 move forwards, but it's always good to practice those new tools, those new, kind of parts of our coding tool belt, Get some practice. So we should be good to go. I'm just going to go a little bit faster because we already verified that this part works. You could have also just had, I'm sure, Hopper teleport to all of these different gems and collect them, but let's play around with the jump a little bit. Coolio, I think we only have a couple more chapters left of this playground, and we are now hopping into 2 experts. Wait a second, you're telling me we can have 2 experts? All right, what is going on here? Okay, so each expert needs to pick different locks. And I know we could, I feel like they shouldn't have given me the power of teleportation because I'm just thinking how we can teleport around, especially now that I know we can click on these coordinates and collect all these gems. But let's go ahead and, test our coding brain and initialize two experts. We could probably have a top expert and a bottom expert, depending on how we're looking at this. So let's create a top expert and it'll equal expert. And the cool thing is we can do our let, we'll do bottom expert, right? If you're like, hey, why don't we just use our character again? It's because when we are initializing the character, they don't actually have the ability to turn the locks. So we need to use the expert. Okay, so where are we going to be placing our top expert? I'm thinking we're putting them here on 0, 4. Our top expert's going to be with this yellow lock. And I think we're going to put our other expert either at 6, 0 or 0, 0, right? Probably 0, 0 so they can collect the gem and then walk over once we've removed, or I guess, sorry, lowered the different platforms. Oh yeah, because they're going to have to go on this floating platform, then have it lowered, and then go forward. So let's go ahead and place our characters in the world. The world, we're going to place them. So we're going to be putting our top expert at 0, 4. Let's have them facing north again. And if we think about this facing north, we'll probably have our other guy facing east. Just remind myself, 0, 4. Cool. Oh, I only have top. It needs to be top expert. We need to be very specific. Okay, we're going to do our place again. And this time we're going to do our bottom expert facing east at 0, 0. So let's do east, 0, 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and initialize, make sure we got them in the right spots, and then let's think through this code. Oh, the gems for the top expert actually change. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we'll figure this out. Wait, did they change? Am I crazy? Oh yeah, they do. They do change because there was a gem up here. Okay, yeah, so we do need to keep in mind that the gems for the top expert are going to be changing, so maybe we'll need to do some conditional code there. All right, let's solve the bottom row first, and then we can go from there. So for the bottom expert, let's go ahead and have them collect the gem. That one's actually there every single time. Okay, then we're going to want to move our expert 1, 2, 3 spaces, and you'll notice we have this purple lock on one of the platforms. We're going to need our bottom expert to actually bring this purple platform up for the top to use later. So let's have them move 1, 2, 3 spaces. So bottom expert dot move 3 spaces. They'll then need to turn left. Turn left. Where's turn left? There it is, down here. And then we'll have them turn the lock up twice. I believe we have the parameters to turn the lock a certain amount of times, right? Yeah, turn lock up. And we want it probably 2 times. We can always change. So this would be true. And number of times, 2. Okay, let's go quickly run our code. Verify that our thinking works. So we should collect this gem, and then we'll be putting this purple platform in position for our top friend there. Turn left, turn it up twice. There's 1. And there's 2. Perfect. Okay, next we're going to need to get our bottom friend to the blue one to move it down probably 2. That looks about 2. Before we do that, we do need to lower the yellow platform that our bottom expert's on. So let's now reference our top expert, and we'll be turning the lock down once. Great. We'll take our bottom expert, have them turn right, so they're facing the direction they need to go, and then moving 1, 2, 3 spaces. So bottom expert dot move 3. Wonderful. And then we should be facing the lock. So let's turn the lock down twice. If I remember correctly, we do the turn lock up and we set it as false in order to move it down. I think that's from the other lesson. Let's just verify real quick, and we can run this on faster since we already know the first little bit works. Look at our experts go. It's going to move the platform up. Then the homie over here is going to lower it down, and then we're going to be adjusting that platform for him. Cool. So the only thing left to do is to have our top expert turn right. And if we remember, every single time we run this, the gems on the top, they do change. So let's create a while loop with some conditional code in order to make sure that they can grab all the gems. They're only moving straight here, so we can use a while blocked or even a while not blocked to have them basically move forward and check if they're on a gem. If they're on a gem, collect it until the very end. So we're going to use our exclamation point for the opposite, and we're going to reference our top expert is blocked. So essentially we're saying while our top expert is not blocked, we've already turned them right, so they're going to be facing the row of the gems. We're going to go ahead and say if they're on a gem, so if top expert dot is on gem, collect gem. Oh, remember we're going to do top expert dot collect gem. They're referencing that guy specifically. And then outside of the if, we're going to go and have them move forward every single time. So top expert dot move forward. We should be good to go. All this time we only have one gem for the top expert. I always feel when I'm doing my final example, it's always like a super low amount. Okay, so we're setting things up for our top expert. They're going to turn right, run our algorithm, go until they're blocked, and we are good to go. So something cool about this playground is we actually are able to now track the platform position. And this is actually represented by the height of these different platforms here. So the more like lower these platforms are, we're able to actually track how high or how low they are basically adjacent to this water. So if they're in the water, if they're up high by hopper, we're actually able to track these different positions of the platforms. So we're going to create a variable for the platform position. And we're going to have it equal 0 to begin with, 0 meaning it's all the way on the bottom. Okay, so we have to do a ton of jumping. Like literally every single one of these blocks, we're going to have to jump. So let's create a function called jump across side. And this is going to allow us to, kind of clear all these sides, make sure we can jump across, collect gems, etc., etc. We're going to be using all of our coding skills, so let's create a for loop because we need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to repeat this 6 times. So for I in 1.6, add our brace here, and we're going to create a condition to always check if they're on a gem and also to check if the gem counter is less than the total amount of gems, because once we have enough gems, we're done, we're good to go. So if character dot is on gem, double ampersand for the and gem counter is less than the total gems. The total gems we're getting from this constant up here. Add a brace. So if we still need to collect gems and we're on a gem, well, let's go ahead and have our character collect that gem. We'll also want to take our gem counter and have it plus equals 1. Oh, not plus minus, plus equals 1. So that's going to add 1 to our gem counter every single time. Outside of the if, so once we're done checking for the gem, once we're done checking for the gem, we're going to have our character then jump, right? Every single one of these blocks we do indeed need to block. Every single one of these blocks we do need to jump. They're pretty staggered. Okay, so that's going to be our function. We can even go ahead and run it real quick if we're curious how it works. I was gonna laugh if it only put gems on the one side and we completed it, but there's probably some logic, so it always has to at least be 1 on each side. So we are under the amount of counter. We're gonna keep jumping. We've done it 6 times. We're at the end of the platform. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of this. And we're going to be replacing this with a while. And we're also going to be making sure that we're continuing our journey while our gem counter is less than the total amount of gems. So the first thing we'll always do is we'll jump across the side. We want to make sure that we're able to clear it. And then we'll have our character turn right. our goal is we're going to basically be creating a loop to go through these sides here. So we can kind of do like a little circuit almost. So we want them to turn right so they can face the grass. So then we can go and clear the grassy side. Next, we're going to be looking at that platform position I mentioned earlier. So this is the kind of position and height of these platforms. So we can say, okay, if this platform position is currently at 0, which it is, it's at the bottom. So when we established our platform position, we're basically saying, okay, if this is in the water, it's at 0, right? It's the lowest it can be. We now need to get Hopper on this, platform. So we need to increase the value by 1. And when we do that, we also turn the lock up by 1. So we're going to have our expert dot turn lock up, and then we're going to take our counter of the platform position, and we're going to assign it to equal 1. We're saying, okay, whenever it's at this height, that's the value of 1. Now we'll be able to actually have Hopper hop on that platform, which is great. We are keeping this within a while loop, so there's a little bit more magic that we can actually do. If we're ever in the case of the platform being really, really high, we can have the expert bring it back down to 1. And we'll need this a little bit later on, but let's go ahead and include the code now. So else if the platform position equals 3. This is going to be for when we have it 3 kind of units up and we need to actually bring it back down to 1 so Hopper can cross it. So in the case of it's at 3, it's like as high as it's going to be. We'll have our expert turn lock up and we'll have it be false. It's basically signaling it to come down 2 times. Thus, we'll be bringing the platform position back down to 1. Okay, outside of the else if, we can have our character then move forward. And again, we're doing it 3 because we're going to want to put it back up here at 3. So we're going to have our character move forward, which is going to put them on the platform, whether it's when Hopper's going to get on here or when they need to go back to the sand dunes. Let's then check if there's a gem on the position they're currently at. So we'll say if character is on gem, and we'll also check for the gem counter being less than the total gems. We can go ahead and have them collect the gem, character.collect gem, and have our gem counter plus equals 1 to increment it by 1. So this will kind of put us on this grassy plain. We then also need to be handling the case of, okay, our platform position's on 1, and we need to get it to 3. So then when Hopper is ready to traverse, they are good to go. So if platform position equals 1, at our brace here, we'll have the expert dot turn lock up true, and we'll move it 2 times to get it to 3. And then we'll establish the platform position to equal 3. Then we'll want to have our character move forward, and then our character turn right, I believe. Alrighty, let's go ahead and run our code, and we'll do the step through so we can watch it all happen beautifully in real time. Oh man, only a few gems, but you can see that's why we were including, if we're kind of turning on these platforms and there's a random gem on one of these, we do definitely need to be able to collect it. I wish you could do like the step faster, but oh well. Here we are, we have some more gems randomly spawning. Oh, that one looked really glitchy. Oh, Hopper was moving without moving. Classic Swift Playgrounds. I feel like the parameters one has been pretty buggy, but it is what it is. Okay, we're getting to the end, and let's go ahead and make sure our platform check works. So in the case that it's 0, we're turning the lock up. Our platform position is now 1. We're going to move forward. We're going to check to see if a gem's here. It's not gemmed. So we're going to establish that we want the platform to be at level 3, and we're also going to make the number level 3. Once we go up one more time, great, the number is now 3 because we moved up twice. We're going to move forward, turn right, and we're going to repeat our while loop. So we're going to be doing our jumping across. When we get to the end of this grassy section, that's where we're going to be looking at the platform again. And we're going to say, okay, if the platform position is 3, which it currently is, we're going to move it down 2 times, putting us down at 1. Then we'll go ahead and do the check again. If the platform position is at 1, we're going to bring it back up to 3. So Hopper is able to... Oh no! We might have made a mistake here. Hopper, what's going on, buddy? Okay, we definitely made a small mistake here. Let's go ahead and stop our playground and see where we made a mistake. Oh wait, are we going fine? Wait, this looked like it was fine. What was happening? I'm so confused. I was counting in my head and it looked fine. You know what it was? It was the visual glitch where Hopper was not in the right position, but they were. I told you, parameters are super laggy. Because he turned here when he shouldn't have. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but he only moved 5 before turning. Right? Because we have this 6 times. Swift Playgrounds. First you. Okay. If I press step through the code, it's not going to pick up from where we left off. Oh, man. I was talking through it and it made sense. Darn Swift Playgrounds. Okay, let's get back to the spot where we actually were. Okay, so here's the logic. Hopefully it works fine this time. We're going to go all the way to the end. We're then going to say, okay, it's at 3. We need to bring it to 1. We're going to walk on. We're going to check if there's a gem. When it's at the position 1, we're going to bring it back up. Would have looked so cool on the first run if the Swift Playground glitch didn't happen. Let me know if you also get that weird glitch where the characters kind of desync and walk through walls and turn before they're supposed to. But that is wrapping up parameters. A lot of bugs on this one, but I still love Swift Playgrounds. So next time that we come back to Swift Playgrounds, we're going to be taking a look at world building. And I think we're going to be using the parameters and positioning to build a world. Maybe we'll build our own puzzles. That would be pretty cool. But for now, that was parameters. So we learned how to take information and pass them into functions, those commands that we use in order to specify where a character is at, what direction they're facing, how many times that they're moving. We're really able to give really precise commands, and it allows us to write really efficient code for our puzzle solving. So functions and parameters, very important, very, very important. And we'll see you next time for world building. Dream big and code bigger.